This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map pool party for the Dual Duel number 5 finals. This is a 2v2 best of 5. In the top left-hand corner is the Red Allies. This is Flodeinto. And in the south as the Yellow Empire, this is Tengu. Yellow Empire, makes sense that he's going to be building a lot of Tengus since his name is Tengu. In the top right-hand corner, you guys probably know him. This is the Blue Allies, Andrey, a.k.a. Never Cheese, who sometimes cheeses. And in the south, making up the second part of team number 2, this is Gidobaas, who I might just be calling Guido. I don't know how to say that name, and I don't know if he's smurfing for someone else, but these are the 2v2 finals, and these teams were decided on by Inspector Rage. So Rage of Heat basically ranked everybody and then put the number 1 ranked player with the last ranked player, and so on. So number 2 is with the second to last ranked player, and so on. And that's how we ended up with these teams. And there were a number of pretty big names showing up in this tournament. We had Demon, we had Vindies, Queen Oni, even Sheriff AA showing up as well. And I mean, we've got Andrey here, so a bunch of good players did show up, and some faces that I haven't seen in a while. I guess Vindies is back. I don't know how long he's been back, but also Queen Oni also back, which is pretty exciting to see. And I don't actually know if Sheriff AA has been playing or if he's just showing up for the 2v2. And then, of course, Demon, a constant good player on the scene. But this is the setup for the 2v2 finals. Both of these teams 2-0'd in the semifinals. So the semis were a best of 3, and they both 2-0'd. So that is what happened there. Other than that, we're going to be checking out this best of 5. Hopefully, it's some good games. Now, we did see in a best of, not in a best of 5 series, but in an all-map series, Andrey did pretty well with Pika versus Demon and Lichter. So I have kind of high expectations here for Andrey. Hopefully, it's not a one-sided bash, though. And we do have a little bit of Peacekeeper action in the south, a very fast ore collector, which of course is not an ore collector at all. It's a sudden transport. Going to be jumping out these tank busters into that building. Going to be able to just do a little bit of damage. Won't quite, yes, they do get the kill on the Tengu as Tengus transform and go for the kill there on Gidobaas's Tengu. In the north, more Peacekeeper Army wall-offs as these guys are just forming straight walls in between each other and are trying to go for some potential damage. Vindicators making some drive-bys. Andrey bombing the Tengus of Tengu. And it looks like Gidobaas going to be catching 1, maybe even 2 Tengus. Do go down, a third one in danger of being eliminated. And there it does go down. So, Gidobaas winning the Tengu war for sure. Going to be getting some harassment, and the sudden transport harassment from Tengu didn't really turn into anything. He wasn't able to make anything significant happen. On the right side of the map, we do have some Javelin Troopers going to be moving in here, and it looks like Andrey has a couple of Peacekeepers moving south, but this is 3 laser locks on this oil derrick. Going to be able to shut that down just barely there before the last Javelin Trooper goes down, and this 5th Javelin Trooper has no chance against that many Peacekeepers, or even just against 1 Peacekeeper. It looks like Gidobaas has been pushed out of Tengu's base. His Harvesters are back on the line. It looks like he just lost mining time. It doesn't look like he had to rebuild any of them. So it's annoying to lose mining time, but it's better than having to rebuild Harvesters. In the south, it looks like an Apollo able to snipe down one of these Tengus. Andrey being active with his aircraft in the south of the map. He's doing a good job of keeping an eye on the skies for his ally. And Tengu nearly catching a couple of Vindicators there. That would have been a nice kill for him, but it looks like a second Apollo for Andrey. Going to try to engage these Tengus before escaping away. And of course, Apollos will always beat Tengus in a 1v1, but, you know, they can also run away. So you can engage in a, 1v3 kind of situation for a couple of seconds, and then you can escape out of there if your timing is right. And it looks like the timing for Andrey was correct. Guido is just clearing the skies as he is killing so many of the Tengus of Tengu, and now Tengu going to be engaging with 1 single Tengu while the rest of the Tengus do go for the power plant in the north. Peacekeepers are just looking at each other. They're just shooting each other with their I-beams, not actually doing anything. Flodeinto shows up with a couple of IFVs, also drops a turret, which is going to help defend Tengu's base a little bit here. And back in the north, expansion up and running for Flode, and actually it looks like Andrey also rocking a third expansion, and a third expansion out here on the water for Gido. So everyone's getting their economies up and rolling a little bit late. No one took like a fourth refinery at this point, which is, and sometimes in a 2v2 it's kind of surprising to not see 4 or 5 refineries at this point, but these guys have been reasonably aggressive. They've been focusing on big army moves. And it looks like Vindicator's going to be going for the power plant. Won't quite get it. It will survive that bombing run. Riptide also going to be showing up. And it looks like a couple of Javelin troopers heading on south could try and go for a bit of an angle on this refinery and the power plant. But the Riptide is here to shut it down. If the Vindicators had stuck around, they'd be able to clean out this Riptide nice and quick. But instead, these Javelin troopers are going to try and do it themselves. And they will get the kill, but barely. And I mean, to be honest, you only need one Javelin trooper to be able to burst down some of these buildings even pretty quickly with that laser lock. And it's 4... Oh, actually, I was going to say it's 4v1, but even this one is offline as the Cryocopter does step forward. Cryo shots fire off for both players. This Assault Destroyer on the front line is going to give a lot of beef and a lot of strength to this army. One multi-gunner turret is frozen. It has not been busted just yet. Apollo's going to be showing up to try and deal with the Cryocopters as the Peacekeepers from Andrey step forward. His Javelin Trooper's not really doing anything there. I think he's trying to force fire the ground, hoping that the Assault Destroyer's Black Hole armor would absorb it. Looks like the refinery did get cleaned up there, as well as the power plant. And no Assault Destroyer, so that force fire on the ground is not necessary in the south. Looks like some action happened, but the tsunami tanks are now here for Tengu. Cryocopter did go down for Flodeinto, so that's super annoying for him. In the north, Andrey continuing to push on forward, and this MCV is going to be in danger relatively soon. Lots of Peacekeepers on the ground, and now even Vindicators here to support for Andrey. Going to be able to just push on through. Nope, the MCV is packing up. The MCV is going for the crushes. I don't know that he can contend against all of the multi-gunner turrets of Andrey. 3 of them close to the front lines here, and then Javelin troopers behind that. A 4th multi-gunner turret going to be going down at the edge of the build radius here, while Tengu's tsunamis are on the front line for Gidobaas. He's attacking Tengu directly now, and Tengu, I don't know that he has the strength to hold this off. He's going to be losing all of the Tengus in the sky, and then the tsunami tanks will eventually deal with the striker on the ground, which means it's free and clear, easy attack for Gidobaas. And actually, Tengu has been defeated, so he leaves the game there. And actually, it looks like Flodeinto is throwing in the towel as well. He's not going to try and stick out a 2v1. Andrey and Gidobaas taking a pretty solid, a very confident 1-game lead in this series. And hopefully, the rest of the series doesn't look like that, just a one-sided slugfest. But we will find out starting with game number 2, which takes us to Hostile for game number 2. Now on the top left-hand corner, this is Andrey. Their teammate in the south as the Orange Empire, it's Gidobaas. And in the top right-hand corner as the Red Allies, it's Flodeinto. Ooh, airfield first. Going for a little snipey of the engineers. And in the bottom right-hand corner, making up team number 2, this is Tengu, who we saw eventually break form and build tsunami tanks and Striker VXs. What's up with that, Tengu? You have to answer to the people why you're building something other than Tengus. Anytime we see a fast airfield, we always gotta see, do they get the snipes on the engineer? No engineer there. Just a bunch of Javelin troopers. He's going to be heading on south. Actually, there is an engineer. I thought Andrey had predicted that Flode was going to go fast airfield, and so he went no engineer, because it's a little harder to snipe the Empire engineers, much smaller window of attack. And that Imperial Warrior just juked that Dojo Core so bad, and then his ally did not. His ally is a real sucker. So 2 of the oil derricks have been grabbed, one by Tengu, one by Gidobaas, and it looks like the other one may be grabbed by Tengu. He's grabbing the one that is close to Flo, so Flo is going to be potentially losing the opportunity to grab that oil derrick, but he cost Andrey $500 plus the Peacekeeper, so that's super annoying. Riptide going to be coming out for Andrey. Ooh, it gets spotted and dropped pretty early on. The Vindicator does survive for now. A second Riptide does show up, I assume. I don't know, maybe that Riptide's full of guys, but why do you put the Riptides back into the weak one that is already much closer to death? And it looks like, oh, something died down there. Sudden transport going to be loading up, and 2 more Vindicators going to be stepping on out. Yeah, there are some Javelin Troopers in that second Riptide as well, which is why I didn't want to pack anything into that. Does go for it, loses 1 Vindicator. The second Vindicator manages to escape, but 2 Peacekeepers going to be able to put the hurt a little bit on this Riptide. Not going to be able to kill it before the Riptide does eat away at them. Tengu in the harass. Tengu harass in the south, rather, as Gidobaas is looking for the attack there, looking to put a little bit of pressure on Tengu, do a little bit of damage. Snipes the engineer from Tengu, so Andrey going to be putting the hurt on Tengu just a little bit there. Loses, oh! That was perfect bomb splitting there by Flodeinto, so great job by him. Does end up killing 2 or 3 of the Javelin Troopers. The other 2 do survive, which means the oil derrick does not. Now, of course, Tengu has already gotten value from that oil derrick, but he also lost an engineer, so that's annoying. And now the Javelin Troopers are going to be trading out against the single Imperial Warrior from selling off. And it looks like 1 building has been grabbed in the south. Gidobaas going to be losing this refinery almost certainly. Even if he tried to build another wall, the tank busters can break down those walls so easily. It's so easy for them. More Tengu harass in the south, as Tengu and Gidobaas are not letting up from attacking. Even the Harvester getting in a little bit of damage there. It looks like the sudden transport is going to be hightailing it out of there, trying to look for greener pastures. A little bit of a turret push happening from Andrey as he's pushing down this refinery of Flo. And Flo actually does have a seaport here, so potentially some Dolphins, potentially Hydrofoil or a Riptide could be coming out of there to try and defend that refinery, defend that Harvester. This Harvester going mad, almost gets a kill on that Tengu. A transform will solve that problem real quick there, as 3 Tengus get the kill, nice and easy. And for now, Tengu has held off Gidobaas's harassment, although kind of like last game, the harassment isn't, you know, always about killing the Harvesters. Sometimes it's about doing a bit of damage as long as you escape with your Tengus. When you're losing your Tengus, when you're down a refinery, it really changes how things look for Gidobaas. He's in a much worse position, even though he's been trying similar things to that last game. And it looks like Tengu Cloud versus Tengu Cloud. I think the numbers here are +3, basically, with Tengu. So Gidobaas cannot fight this. He cannot fight this directly. He has to try and either fly over base defenses or find some way to even things out. In this case, he's going to be doesn't lose that 1. Tengu does survive with both of the Tengus. They drop down, and it looks like the other 2 will end up surviving as well. So they're going for the repairs. This Apollo can't 1v5 or 6 all of these Tengus. He's going to try and fly away. He's going to try and make something else happen. The refinery did end up going down. 2 multi-gunner turrets for Andrey. Going to be putting the hurt on that expansion of Flo, and Flo is not in the position that he was in the last game, where he's, you know, kind of split between him and Andrey, and Andrey is just coming to him, and he is coming strong. So he's going to have a lot of trouble to deal with, but it looks like in between the Hydrofoil and the multi-gunner turret, Flo will be able to deal with that expansion point for the current moment. Striker, or a Defender Corps, going to be going up to try and deal with some of these attacks. More Tengus going down. This is like the exact opposite of what we saw last time. Tengu was the one getting down in the numbers. Tengu was the one being overwhelmed, and now Tengu is the one going for the harass, and this Defender Corps is going to help, but it can't reach all of these exterior areas. It can't deal with this many Tengus attacking from this many different locations. Peacekeepers from Flo actually breaking down a turret and allowing Flo to just directly attack the MCV, as the Hydrofoil there does go down to a Vindicator attack, and it looks like the power plants could be under threat. Andrey going to be firing off that Cryoblast, but an easy peasy avoidance there for Tengu. He gets on out of there, as back on the front lines, Flo is pushing Andrey out of this expansion point, and Andrey still has a multi-gunner turret there, so this expansion is not free and clear yet. It's not safe to open up shop there. Instead, he's going to have to break that down, and then re-expand, but this is so many Tengus, and actually, I don't know that Andrey can deal with this directly. There are 2 Apollos here in support for Flo, so the Tengus can just sit on the ground and kill everything that's on this airfield. They don't have to worry about fighting the stuff in the sky, and... Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call that for Nevercheese and Gidobaas losing that game. Tengu and Flo were in so much of a better situation for game number 2, and definitely bringing it back in a scrappy, little bit of a difficult game there, but a much more even 2v2 than that game number 1, which was a bit of a shutdown. However, we will have to see which way the trend continues in game number 3, which takes us to Cold Showdown for another 2v2, and this is the momentum game. Both of these teams have won one game, bringing this a little bit closer to like a best-of-3 kind of situation. So this is the one that swings momentum into someone's favor and puts them at match point. Is it going to be the team on the left side, Red Allies Flo and Yellow Empire Tengu, or the team on the right side, Orange Empire Gidobaas and Blue Allies Andrey? Which, you know, by game 3, you probably know who these guys are, and it's not like it's going to change. Like, this is a formal series, so not going to change. A little bit of dojo harassing going on here, and once again, on Cold Showdown, you've got these 4 oil derricks split in this particular way, and it looks like it wasn't a fast airfield from anyone. It was actually dual racks from Flo, and I'm guessing just a single racks from Andrey based on the sheer numbers he's putting out. And then, of course, Empire, it's always a little bit weird because some Empire players build like 5 dojos, but 2 of them are not actually going to be built. They're just for crushing infantry, kind of as we saw there from Tengu, but I think he just built like 1 or 2 dojos, as he's got a couple of Imperial Warriors being pushed back here. It looks like Flo able to grab 2 of these oil derricks, and Gidobaas going to be potentially going for this 4th one over here. Once the cashback bonus, wants to be able to get that kind of action, and this poor Javelin Trooper will go down to Gidobaas' Imperial Warrior in the south. Multi-gunner IFV going to be able to clean up some of these Imperial Warriors nice and easy. Oh, what is this guy doing? He's just hanging out. Tengu doesn't mind him being in his base. IFV does go down. He's going to be trading it out. No, the Tengu does survive for now. The second Tengu will not, though, as the Guardian tank is able to deal with it pretty easily. Javelin Troopers, it looks like, are not here because Peacekeepers are getting annihilated by those Imperial Warriors. But this the second Imperial Warrior, I assume this last guy will go down. No, I guess he'll get the kill on that Peacekeeper as well. 2 Guardian tanks out on the field from Andrey, so a pretty significant deal for him. While in the north, Peacekeepers and Javelin Troopers going to be able to push Gidobaas back into his base. 1 Harvester going down, and a second one is going to be under threat very soon, as Flo brings 1 Vindicator in to do a little bit of damage. A little bit of damage done by this multi-gunner IFE, and this sudden transport is also going to be taking quite a bit of damage. This Tengu has been healed up to full, but it's still hanging out. There's actually the MCV cell from Tengu, so he is desperate for cash, and he probably doesn't even have enough to rebuild. Hopefully he doesn't have to sell off one of these ore refineries. He does have a multi-gunner turret going down here from Flo, going to be able to keep him safe. And these Tengus, if they can force the Guardian tank to engage on their terms. Whoa! Was that a misclick? So he's... Wow, okay, so Tengu... Tengu's got 2 racks and 2... Oh, I wonder if he's going to quit. Because if he quits after he rebuilds these harvesters, then that will actually give Flo 10. That'll give him 6 refineries, 2 oil derricks. I assume he's going to drop a refinery here. And that'll give him 6 refineries, 2 oil derricks, which is a pretty big income boom. Or maybe he's going for sudden transport place. Oh, if he did like an engineer cap after selling his own MCV, something like that, or even a war factory cap, that would be pretty amazing. Whoa, Flo going to be moving on to the high ground with his MCV. He's going for a direct base push, and I think between Guido and Andrey, I assume Andrey's going to drop a couple of multi-gunner turrets. for defense, so this shouldn't be too much to deal with here. Peacekeepers could be getting crushed here as one dojo does go down. The second one gets the kill on a number of Javelin Troopers, which is nice. It allows these Tengus to actually do what they were designed to do and kill infantry nice and easy in the south. Riptide and, yeah, this is a sudden transport, not actually a Tengu from Gido going to be showing up there. But that Tengu, or that sudden transport, could have a bunch of tank busters inside it, which could snipe down that Riptide. It looks like for now it will be safe. At the current moment, it drives away without too much trouble, while in the north, Flo bringing in more Vindicators to snipe down the multi-gunner turrets of Andrey. And they are going down in defense, as well as this one Javelin soldier could laser lock this Conyard and start putting some pressure on it, forcing it to pack up, forcing it to go away. This one Peacekeeper going to be looking for some kind of an angle to make something happen, but at the current moment, it's nothing. And this is the... No, this actually is a Mecha Tengu. It's not that sudden transport from Tengu. Going to be looking to make something happen. And Tengu, he just he doesn't have a whole lot really going on there. But in the north, Flo going to be another Tsunami tank going down there. He's doing a good job of making his Vindicators extremely active. This War Factory down on the front line. A Riptide pops out, but wow, that's 2 grand down, and it was not up for very long. Even the MCV forced to pull back. He's probably going to have to drop a Rax, draft an Engineer. And there's that sudden transport. Going to be forcing the sell-off of Gido's refinery, and Tengu, he's still in this. He's, as the game goes on, he's, oh my gosh, he got all of those tank busters. That was a bit of a mistake there by Tengu. I mean, of course, he did not intend for that to happen, but I can't believe he's still in this game. But he's doing what he can. This sudden transport is, I think, his last vehicle other than a harvester. He sacrifices the sudden transport next to a harvester with repair. Oh my gosh, the cryo shot kills that Rax. So actually, this is the last production facility of Tengu. No engineer for this MCV. He's going the slow way. He's just repairing bit by bit. This Apollo is dead. The second one does pull away. Riptides, multi-gunner IFVs, and Javelin Troopers on the front line here for the Flow. Rebuilding that War Factory, another 2 grand down the drain. And Andrey, with those cryocopters, he's going to have an easy time holding... It's just barracks. It's just 1 rack's worth of infantry coming from a long way away. He could repair the bridge, but now you're spending 500 credits on a bridge that Andrey is probably just going to destroy. And no, this is the last production facility. So you have to leave the game for sure, right? I mean, this is pretty much over with Flo on low power if he can't hold this push. No, he's back online, so he's got that bit of damage. And, I bet if Andrey... I wonder if Andrey just swelled infantry. Cryocopter going down there, that's really tough. That's annoying for Andrey, but Andrey still has stuff going on. Although, he's only been on 2 refinery this whole time with the 1 oil derrick. So he doesn't have that much income going on. And, yeah, surely if Andrey just, like, drafted, I don't know, 20 Peacekeepers or something, and a couple of Javelin Troopers, and then Gido and Andrey push this base, they'd be able to break this, I assume. Between the Strikers, the Tsunamis, and the Tank Busters. But for the current moment, Tengu is... he has no production. He's got like 4 guys on the map, but he's still here. Honestly, I think just handing your refineries over to Gido and letting Gido try and like 2v1 is going to be your best bet. I don't know what he's hoping to do here, but going to get harassed down in the south. Andrey swings in with a cryo shot and a Vindicator, and the bridge does collapse, and actually all of those units die, even though they should have been on safe ground, you would think. Hitting back, strike for strike, a little cryo blast for you, a little cryo blast for me, as Gido going to be going on the defensive with those Tengus flying over Andrey's refinery. He's going to be taking a little bit of damage on this oil derrick, and Gido has lost that oil derrick, so it does eventually go down. Tengu has been defeated, and now we are in a very tough 2v1 situation. Andrey, I assume Andrey is just going to power up to 4 refineries and then slowly take over this base and just base push it to nothing, and then he'll be at 6 refineries, and he'll be able to crush Flode into the ground. Although, Heyo, Flo got all the way up to tier 3, so he's actually pumping out Mirage tanks and Athena cannons, which the Athena cannons are going to give him the ability to clear this base easy peasy. And actually, Vindicator's going to be coming in, but the Aegis Shield does pop, which means the Vindicators are going to have to run away, and they can't because they're dead as they fall to the ground and explode into fiery demise. Andrey's Vindicators unable to make anything happen, and Float actually has a strong position in the north here. He's got the Athena cannon. Oh, he's just got one. He really should get a second guy out there. If he gets 2 Athena cannons, this becomes so much stronger of an attack force. Oh my gosh, this one Cryocopter against all of those Javelin Troopers. Cryocopters can absorb quite a bit of damage, but they're not invincible. And oh, giving away a couple of Javelin Troopers, that's not a great situation to be in. Andrey really is not doing too much in this fight, considering that he doesn't even really have an opponent in the south. I mean, he's got 2 refineries and a multi-gunner turret in the south that he has to worry about, while in the north, oh my gosh, even an aircraft carrier out here. EMP locks down this army, and Flo is crushing forward. A Cryo Blast going to be firing off from Andrey, locking down a huge chunk of this army. Some of it was able to escape, and now the Cryocopter is going to be rushing in here. They're taking a little bit of damage. They get the freeze on the Athena cannon, but it's not enough. It does unfreeze, and the rest of this army marches on forward. Guido is not able to crush this army. He is not able to make this happen, and oh my gosh, Guido's production facilities are soon going to be under attack. He's actually been spending a whole bunch of cash on a mainframe core. Instead of producing stuff to stop this push, he was teching up. That's units that could have been on the front line here that are now just dying to Athena cannons, and this push is actually drying up as it's just 1 Tsunami tank against these 2 Athena cannons. As long as the Tsunami tanks stay close, it can kill these Athena cannons, so this push is actually dead. Alright, so he's still got the aircraft carrier out on the water, which could shred this entire base by itself. I mean, just take out the instant generator and the production slows down, but he's about to kill a tier 2 war factory, which is several thousand credits of investment that that Guido has put into this, and he's not getting any value out of it. Mirage tank now out on the field. There's the sell-off of that war factory, brings the Defender VX back online. Andrey has dropped an additional multi-gunner turret, but these forces will make quick work of 1 single multi-gunner turret. He's actually just going to be using the Javelin Troopers to force it to sell off. He's going to get the kill there. Andrey now up to those 4 refineries, but he still hasn't crushed this base. I mean, 2 Vindicators kill that multi-gunner turret. Does he not have any? He may not have any Vindicators. I'm not sure what Andrey has been doing with his cash, but it's not killing that base over in the south. And again, this attack isn't too much, but with the aircraft carrier giving that EMP ability and giving the ability to range down any of this stuff, it makes this attack a lot harder to hold off. 2 Mirage tanks break through these tsunamis. Easy peasy. The MCV is also going to be going down. Dropped another Mecha Bay, which he's not going to get any real value out of, as the Cryocopter even targets it down to potentially go for the freeze. Gidobaas has been defeated. He hands off, well, one of his refineries. The other one's already dead, and this one's about to go down. So Andrey, he's got these 2 refineries there. He's got his 4 refineries. So he's sitting at 6 refineries, which is good. He's up to 3 Cryocopters, which is a powerful attack force. But actually, Float, if Float gets the right EMPs, he could crush through this. Like, Float has the stronger ground army. Andrey has the better Cryocopters, but actually he loses another Cryocopter here, and he's going to sacrifice that Apollo to try and get another, but it doesn't actually happen. Harvester's going down. This entire base is forfeit. Andrey just needs to crush it. He needs to not give Flo any more cash. He needs to not give Flo any more opportunity, as Flo is he's just marching south. I don't actually know what Andrey can do to stop this when all you've got is Cryocopters and infantry on the ground. I guess he sold off his war factory, so he's got no war factory. He's got no naval yard. He actually, Andrey, mate, I don't know what he can actually do about Mirage tanks, Athena cannons, aircraft carriers, and hydrofoils. He can definitely draw this out, but he's got to deal with this ground army coming out from Flo, and now that he's down refineries, he's actually at a serious economic disadvantage the longer this game goes on. Flo had those 6 refineries for a good long while, even though he's just down to the 4 and the 2 oil derricks now. That's more income than Andrey has, and Andrey going to be losing this Apollo here just slowly over time. This is a lot of cryocopters. He's going to be going for a big freeze and a big shrink, but these Apollos are here to guard these naval units, and for now, 2 of those Apollos do go down, but on the ground, these Peacekeepers are getting shredded. They can't close the distance, and if you can't get close to the Mirage tanks, you're just going to die. There's the 1 shrink and a 2nd shrink as the Mirage tanks step forward, but the reverse is good enough. Flo is on top of this, which means he's just going to be able to slice through this army, slice and dice. The Athena cannon from range is going to cut this army to pieces if Andrey can't find a way to force the engagement. He can't play this game on Flo's terms because over time, Flo will win if Flo is allowed to just pick and choose this army to bits. Like in this kind of a situation, and Andrey, I don't even know what he can do. He's going to get 1 of the Mirage tanks, but he hasn't dealt with the Athena cannon. He hasn't dealt with the aircraft carriers, and that's going to be it. So Tengu leaving the game, and Flo 2v1ing, let's see, for about half of that game, but really Tengu was down to like 2 barracks and then 1 barracks, I don't know, back here at 5 minutes or something. So Flo doing a great job holding his own in this situation, and you have to hand it to him. He did a great job of standing up to Andrey, standing up to Guido, and honestly, I'm really excited to see what happens in game number 4. Game number 3, swinging things into the favor of Flo and Tengu. Let's find out if they're able to clinch the victory or if Andrey and Gidobaas can start fighting back in game number 4. Which takes us to Rock Ridge with the airport in the middle. And sometimes it's a big factor in games. Sometimes it is not. We will have to see. You guys know him. He just completed a pretty great 2v1 situation. This is the Red Allies Flodeinto. In the bottom left-hand corner, their teammate. This is the Yellow Empire Tengu. In the top right-hand corner, going for airfield first, this is Andrey. And in the bottom right-hand corner is the Orange Empire. This is Guido. Or Gidobaas. I don't know. Whatever he wants to be called. Oil derricks, 1 per player. A little easier to grab on this map than on some of the previous maps, and it looks like it was. Quick airfield for both of our allied players. We're back to an AVA on the top and an EVE on the bottom. Last time, we actually got a little bit of a mix-up. I think the first 2 games were both AVA versus EVE with the way the map splits up. So I don't know if these guys prefer this or they prefer the other way, but yeah, this is what you end up seeing is Empire definitely has an advantage of being able to just send their engineers directly to that. Oh my gosh, that engineer, the first cap was so much faster from Tengu, and then the second engineer cap takes so much longer. As another Apollo going to be heading on out for Flo, he's going to be looking to catch the Apollo of Andrey, and I guess right now, Andrey has a distinct advantage, so Flo should not be looking to do too much to this Apollo until they regain the airfield, if they're even able to regain the airfield, as a 1v1 situation is always going to be favoring Andrey with this kind of a setup. It looks like these Vindicators working on a bombing run in the south here. They were able to damage that power plant. They weren't able to kill it, of course. And actually, Gidobaas, sneaky boy that he is, going to be setting up his own dojo core at Tengu's oil derrick. So he's going to be looking to deny that income. Already, MCV moved out for a quick 3rd refinery from Andrey, so he's going to be getting that income up and running. And actually, I guess it's the normal timing because Flo is doing the exact same thing. Slightly slower than Andrey. And the airport has changed hands, so Tengu now has control of it, and if he's able to annihilate this dojo, then that'll be good for him. It looks like Tengu is here trying to secure his... Ooh, that's super annoying if that engineer ended up going down. And it looks like Tengu is not going to be giving up that oil derrick easily. Andrey moving in with a couple of Apollos, going to be trying to push away the Apollos of Flo, but of course in this situation, Flo is always going to be winning in those equal fights. He's never going to have anything to worry about with those free repairs, which have now switched hands back to Gidobaas and Andrey. So now Andrey has double repairs, but the 2v1 situation is still enough firepower from Flo to overwhelm and destroy the aircraft of Andrey. One Vindicator goes down for free, and a second one almost gets eliminated before the Apollo comes back for Andrey and shoots down the Apollo of Flo. So Flo almost got in an amazing economic exchange there, as he was able to just crush the aircraft of Andrey. But in this case, Andrey is doing a good job staying on top of that Vindicator, and he's going to get the kill almost certainly, although he is going to fly over a bunch of Javelin Troopers, and he may end up trading his life for it. So that exchange ended up coming out, I don't know, close to even, with the Vindicator going down and then the Apollo going down, but both of the Apollos go for Andrey going down. I don't actually know how that ended up working out in this particular case. One multi-gunner turret on the front lines here for Andrey, going to be trying to push away the MCV of Flo, and Flo got his refinery up and rolling, but for some reason Andrey actually doesn't have his refinery up and rolling, rebuilding his airfield, so he's putting that cash over here instead. And a couple of Peacekeepers going to be heading to the front line for Flo in the south. It looks like the Engineer will be able to grab the airport one last time, and look at that, the dojo has died, so no more caps of that airfield. It looks like the decision by Andrey is just destroy it, burn it to the ground, because I would rather nobody have it than our opponents have it. This MCV is going deep into enemy territory, running past two of those multi-gunner turrets, and actually Flo has dropped a multi-gunner turret of his own directly into the refinery location of Andrey. And oh my gosh, is Flo going to try and engineer cap this stuff? Why is his MCV parked this close? Is he just going to be going for a base push? But this could turn into a very funny engineer cap versus engineer cap situation. I feel like you see this more in Kane's Wrath and Tib Wars than this kind of a situation, as Gidobaas shows up with a ton of Tengus. In this MCV, it may not totally be dead, but it's very close to totally dead at this point. Tengu going to be showing up with a whole bunch of Tengus, one multi-gunner turret, and one barracks in the expansion base of Andrey. It's not the main, but Andrey is going to be able to, I assume, deal with this quite easily, as that is not a lot of strength for Flo to really be putting out in this game. In the south, we do have one Harvester going to be getting harassed and trying to use the dishonorable, or the honorable discharge to get the kill on that ore collector, but it won't quite work out there. Tengu harass on every side of the map, on every corner of the map, as these guys trying to tear each other apart. Gidobaas going to be looking for the kill there, as he's going to be trying to harass with his Tengus, but a big swarm of Tengus from Tengu going to be definitely getting the kill on one Harvester, will end up getting the kill on this Tengu as well, but may end up trading out quite a few Tengus of his own in exchange. Going to have to run by this multi-gunner turret, and another Tengu will end up going down, so I don't know that that attack ended up being worth it for Tengu. But in the middle of the map, it looks like the Tengu Apollo combination of Tengu and Flode are going to be able to reign supreme over the Tengus of Gidobaas. Yikes! The Tengus of Tengu and the Tengus of Gidobaas does get a little tongue twistery to say over time. More Tengu harass from Tengu as he's looking to hit the Harvesters of Andrey. And actually, this is a bigger deal for Andrey than almost any other player, just because Andrey has never actually expanded. I guess Guido never actually expanded either. Huh. These guys, they don't believe in expansions. Like, Demon and Lictor at this point would probably have 10 refineries each, or at least Demon would be trying to have 10 refineries, and Lictor would probably just be on, like, 3. But, definitely an economic problem for these guys, and this oil derrick keeps drawing a little bit of fire from Gidobaas' Imperial Warrior in that building. Multi-gunner turret wars, and finally Andrey has cleared out that refinery spot, which means he can finally get his third ref up and running while out on the water. Apollos and Tengus win versus Apollos, especially when the Tengus do have those point defense drones as extra defense. Apollo's going to be drawing a little bit of fire from that multi-gunner turret here, but with a multi-gunner turret and a Peacekeeper inside of it, this defense is easy peasy for Andrey. More Harvester harass happening. Andrey is just non-stop getting pressured by Tengu. This is incredibly annoying to deal with, and this multi-gunner turret still hanging out here in the south. I saw the wrong color there, and I thought for a second it might be something more dangerous than that, than just an allied turret in your base. But This Prospector will not go down for now. It's safe outside of the walls, and this guy as well is safe at the current moment. More Tengu harass coming out from Tengu as he's going to get another Harvester kill in the south, and this ore refinery is eventually going to be worked away, but I assume the Vindicators from Andrey will be able to deal with that without too much more trouble. Getting chased away after killing that Harvester is the right move, and it looks like this guy will barely be able to escape, especially since the Apollos do show up for the kill there. Although in the north, Andrey able to snipe one of Tengu's as he falls to the ground there. And an engineer heading out for Andrey. I don't know where this guy is going. I guess he's going to be going eventually for this oil derrick, which has been uncaptured for so long in this game. Tengu does die on the transform there, so Gidobaas losing just Tengu after Tengu to these combo forces, and actually, Flode losing two Vindicators there, and both of his Apollos as well. So Andrey coming through clear victories in the skies. Going to be catching another Tengu. Apollo's getting great value out for Andrey. He is winning the air war hands down. He doesn't even need that airport in the middle of the map to be able to do it. Still no third refinery, even in the safe location for Gidobaas, and finally that oil derrick does get captured by Andrey, so now he's up to those 3 refineries. He's up to that oil derrick, which is the same economy that Flo has been on this whole time. And oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that when Flo lost his MCV, Flo didn't actually produce a war factory, so he can't rebuild the MCV. He's got this 1 Rax and this 1 airfield right now, and of course he's upgraded the command hub to give him access to the tier 2. He's got access to those cryocopters, but this is it for him. He's got aircraft and he's got infantry for the rest of this game. No base defenses, no tier 3, no naval yard, and no more expansions. This is it. So Flode has to make this work, and it's pretty much going to be left up to Tengu if this goes into the late game to do all of the heavy lifting. Even no more additional airfields, so he's locked at a max of, maybe 3 Apollos and 1 Vindicator, depending on how Flode wants to split up his spaces in that airfield. 4 Apollos going to be heading back, and they almost certainly will get the kill on this cryocopter. But Flode actually gets the kill on that one Apollo, but nothing is there to kill that Harvester, so it eventually will come back online. And the Apollos of Andrey, they're not actually here to kill the cryocopters on the front lines, which means this multi-gunner turret is going to get busted, and the front door will be open. This is a big infantry swell for Flo. He's going to be stepping into the base of Andrey, and now a multi-gunner turret is here with a Peacekeeper inside of it, and these Apollos are going to go down, handing away veterancy to Andrey, and this is going to become an untenable situation for Flo. He is never going to win an airfield and actually an air war and actually a spy mixed in here with Flo's forces. It does get sniped. A great snipe there by Andrey. A very obvious move to have a blue-colored spy in your army. When you're Flo, you should just disguise it as one of your own units, and it might sneak by a little bit more easily. A big attack here from Gidobaas, but it looks like Tengu is going to be able to deal with it. Very nice of him. And this infantry army from Andrey, or in Andrey's base, and Andrey has no build radius, so he actually can't drop any multi-gunner turrets to help his infantry forces break the back of this attack. And Flo, cutting off the economy of Andrey, is going to swing things potentially into his favor. He's still at a huge disadvantage in terms of actually building anything, in terms of building units or constructing new structures, but being able to cut off the economy of his opponent is his one chance to even things out. Peacekeepers in it going to be able to take this building to hold the line, especially with the Peacekeepers out front, going to be able to get the kills on the guys as they rush forward from Andrey, and Peacekeepers be Peacekeeper. That will actually favor Flo in this situation when he controls that building. Tengu harass from Gidobaas, going to be able to put the hurt on that refinery of Flo, as Andrey hasn't been able to break it just yet. Andrey down to just 1 refinery, and he's got the second one up and running. He did have to use the command hub to expand out to do it, but now he's got build radius, which means he can drop multi-gunner turrets, and he is probably going to be okay. I think Andrey can stabilize from this position. Flo needs to get that refinery back online. He needs to get his harvesters working, and he's got this one back online just barely there. Great harass from Gidobaas. It looks like he's been able to do some serious economic damage to Flo, but this is a huge Tengu swarm in the sky. It's going to clear out all of the Apollos. Andrey stayed and fought, but it was not the right call, although I don't know that he would have been able to escape through the Apollos. He would have had to try and fly all the way around them, and I don't know if that would have really worked out for him. One Tengu for Gidobaas could end up getting caught a little bit here by Tengu, and yes, this is a big Tengu harass, a big Tengu force. Gidobaas has the forces to challenge it, especially with Andrey's forces on the ground, but for now, this entire Tengu cloud is just going to go well, actually, no, this huge cryoblast could lose all of these Tengus. They're all going to be going down. There's the sell-off of the refinery. The quickest solution for Andrey is to just kill these guys while they're frozen on the ground, even one of the ones that was unfrozen. Eventually, the Peacekeeper does go down. It looks like 5 of the Tengus may survive if there's nothing else here to try and get the kill for Andrey. And yes, there's the cooldown of that freeze. It finally comes, or the warming up of that freeze, it finally comes offline, and it looks like Gidobaas, once again, the king of harass, it feels like, in this game. He's putting a lot of hurt onto the harvesters of all of his opponents, constantly sniping as many harvesters as he can, although it looks like these guys are going to be safe, and both of the Tengus do go down, so that was not a cost-effective exchange for Gidobaas. 3 of the Tengus do escape. 1 refinery back up and running for Andrey. The second one most likely will be online shortly, and Andrey still rocking these 2. He never got tier 2, so he actually never upgraded to cryocopters, which is kind of surprising over the course of this game, however long it has been. Another harvester, another refinery does go down for Tengu, but Tengu up to 4 refineries, which is honestly not that many this late in the game, has lost one of them, so he's going to be back to kind of the same footing of these other guys. Eventually, Gidobaas did set up a 3rd refinery. They've been able to hold on to their oil derricks quite nicely. Tankbuster Surprise, very nicely, going to be able to snipe that harvester, but he's going to trade all of the Tankbusters for it. Of course, he didn't have to pay for them, so that's an okay exchange for Gidobaas. He's going to be happy with that. Getting the kill on the harvester, denying that income to Flow is more important than the support power not being used. So nice moves there. Flow still in a very rough situation, going for a 2-2 split of Apollos and Vindicators. It'll give him the ability to burst down the multi-gunner turret, and also some contention in the sky. But Andrey is obviously always going to have more Apollos in the sky. Now this multi-gunner turret is also going to get frozen and targeted down. 2v2 is going to be the Apollo count, and that is it for Flow. He's going to hightail it at it. I wish he had some Javelin Troopers on the front line to help support these Apollos. That would give him an actual opportunity to do some real damage there. Tengu going to be able to snipe an entire refinery of Gidobaas, and this is where things get dangerous for Tengu. 5 tsunami tanks in his base, shooting his power plants right in the face, and 1 tsunami tank and 1 striker, although with this striker now in the sky, there's nothing here to clear this guy. I mean, this is a huge Tengu swarm from Tengu, which means his striker is going to be safe for now. Perhaps Andrey's Cryogeddon is going to be able to freeze that Mecha Bay, and he does snipe the striker, which is great, and that there's nothing here to kill that Mecha Bay, so another striker will be produced eventually, and this attack is getting shut down. The cryocopters ensuring that it doesn't last any longer than it has to. The ore refinery does still stand. That attack could have gotten a lot worse for Tengu. All things considered, I would actually be okay with that. He traded out 5 tsunami tanks and maybe a couple of Apollos because they tried to fight the Tengu swarm, but that actually was kind of okay. This is a lot of Tengus. They're going to transform directly on top of one of these tsunami tanks and a bunch of tank busters, but I think this is enough ground forces here from Tengu to hold off this defense, to totally destroy and actually annihilate that defense. That wasn't even close. I thought a couple more of the Tengus would end up going down, but no, there just was not the numbers here from Gidobaas. He's being overwhelmed. His main base is under threat with the cryocopters here. These Tengus are suddenly going to be so much more effective than they otherwise would have, even if he has to transform a couple of them to help to keep the Apollos busy. He's gonna okay, so G is called kind of unceremoniously. The defeat rings in for Andrey and Gidobaas, as Andrey still strong up in the north, but Gidobaas falling away in the south, crumbling under the pressure and unable to stand up against the combined might of Flow and Tengu. Man, that Cryocopter Tengu on the ground combo is so incredibly powerful, especially when you have 3+ cryocopters, which granted, that's a pretty big investment money-wise, but if you have 3+ cryocopters freezing buildings, and of course the Tengus, unlike Vindicators, don't have to go back to refuel and get more ammo, so they're just shredding everything on the ground. A great combo winning move here from Tengu and Flo. I believe the prize was $50 split between the two of them. A huge thanks to Inspector Rage setting up this event, providing a cool 2v2 opportunity for these players, and I know that there was some 3v3s on Magma the morning after the 2v2, so we're also probably going to be checking out some of those replays. I think some people sent me some, so thank you all very much for watching. We got more Command & Conquer action on the way, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I feel so weird about the ending to that. I feel like I need someone to say, no, this is actually what happened. But yeah, so that's, I guess, the end, as Flodeinto and Tengu going to be able to clinch the victory, best of 5. Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert signing out.